Okay.
Hey there.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to our 6 to 7 focus activity, natural disasters. Okay. My name is Joelle. I work in my English school of Florence. And good morning, Lisa. And good morning,
Hey
Veronica.
there. Oh, hey there. My name is Sarah. I work with
Veronica.
Joelle in Florence, Baraka as well. And we got loads of people online. Hi, Chiara. Hi, Rita. Hi, Annalisa. Hope you're
Wow.
doing well.
Yeah. I'm from London, but I've been living in Italy for a long time now. Um, where are you from, Sarah? Can you tell
I'm
everybody?
from Nottingham in the UK. So where Robin Hood comes from, famous for Robin Hood, the Sheriff of Nottingham. So I'm from the centre of Nottingham, but I've lived in Florence for 3 years. So I've not been here as long as you. How long have you been here?
I have been, I've actually been in Italy for longer than I lived in England.
Wow.
I've been in Florence for 8 years, and before that, I lived in another Italian city in Liguria called La Spezia for 13 years. But before that, I lived in London. I grew up there. Okay. So, hi everybody. Welcome to our focus activity, natural disasters. So, Sarah, what comes to mind when you hear the word natural disasters?
Hmm. Well, I think the big one for me is usually related to weather. So maybe a lot of rain when you have flooding, or you have big storms where you have hurricanes and tornadoes and tsunamis. So a lot of it
Great.
is weather related for me.
Okay, perfect. Hi, Pietro. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Okay, so let's get started on our focus activity. Okay. So, ooh, back. There you go. Sarah, could you please read the objectives in today's focus activity?
Sure. In this focus activity, vocabulary for natural disasters, the present perfect versus past simple to talk about recent world disasters, preparing a safety plan, and an interview with a survivor.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. Annalisa Porter wrote earthquake. Yeah, that is a natural disaster. But the spelling is
I'm on it.
earthquake, right? Right. Excellent. Thank you. So this is the correct spelling. Okay. Hurricane. Good job, Joy. But the spelling of hurricane, Sarah, did you write
I'm
that?
doing it.
Excellent. Okay, that's the spelling. Great. Excellent. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about different natural disasters, what causes natural disasters, and what to do in the case of a natural disaster. All right, let's move on. Oops. Okay, so what are natural disasters? Can anybody explain? Not a list of different natural disasters, but how can we define a natural disaster? Imagine you are reading what a natural disaster is in a dictionary or an encyclopedia. How would you define a natural disaster, Sarah?
Well, for me, a natural disaster is something which occurs which we don't have control over. And so it's an event that happens, and it's something that we can't control, and is usually, with the word disaster, is usually something that affects us very badly. So
Oh,
something that hurts us or causes damage either to property or to people. So you've got the two things, something we can't control, and then something that causes us either pain or damage.
okay, that's a really nice definition. It's really good. Rita Stella also wrote um, a nice definition here. Something bad that happens on the earth. Something bad that happens on the earth. Okay. Yeah, that is basically what a natural disaster is. Um, okay. Like a storm or like a hurricane. Right. So, okay. So natural disasters are extreme sudden events caused by environmental factors that injure people and cause extensive damage. They can strike anywhere in the world, often without warning. So it's a very similar description to what you said, Sarah. Yeah.
And
Okay,
also,
so
nice one from Antonia here.
nice. Big disaster that humans cannot control. Yeah, very good. It's a big disaster. Exactly. So we have no control over it. And I think the most um, important thing is that it happens suddenly or without warning. Okay. What is warning, Sarah? Or does anybody know what a warning is? Okay. Just so everybody knows, when you write your answers in the chat, there is about a 20-30 second delay. So maybe your answer will appear after a few seconds. So just give it a moment. Okay. Um, so what is warning? What is a warning, Sarah?
Well, a warning is when, if, for example, you know something is going to happen and people tell you about it, then you have been warned. So, for example, at the moment, the government is warning us about the dangers of the coronavirus. And there are lots of things on the television to say, hey, you need to be careful. So everybody knows that there is a problem with the coronavirus. If there is
Exactly.
no warning, then we don't know. We don't know that it's coming. And one day, nothing, and the next day, bang. And nobody can do anything to protect themselves. And so there is very little you can do. Nice one from Georgia. Let's have a look at Georgia. A danger that man cannot prevent.
Excellent. Yeah, that's true. Perfect. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. So, Sarah, could you please read the slide, please?
Okay, so natural disasters. Brainstorm a list of natural disasters. How many can you think of?
Okay. So we've already named a few. We've already mentioned earthquake, hurricane, and a storm. What kind of a storm? Have because we have storms all the time, but what really makes the storm a disaster? It's a really bad storm. So it could be a severe storm or a severe thunderstorm. Tsunami, good, Georgia, that's a great one. Avalanche, excellent. Yes, that's good. What's an avalanche, Sarah?
An avalanche only happens in countries where there is snow and mountains, because
Yes.
effectively in England we don't have avalanches because we don't really have mountains and we don't have enough snow.
Okay. Yeah. So, oh, good one, Rosalba. Oops. Flood, excellent. Okay. Tropical storms, that's nice. We've also got from Antonia, tsunami, earthquake, and an eruption. And also a cyclone. Yeah, but the spelling is with an E, cyclone. Okay, right. Volcano, good, Georgia. Volcano, absolutely. Yeah. Global warming. Hmm. Would you classify that as a natural disaster? Yes, I suppose it is. Even,
I think it's probably a very serious one. The difference is that
yeah,
potentially it goes for it's ongoing. It's not just one day or one moment or 1 week.
yeah. And it's caused by man, basically. So it's not really natural. It's just happening because of us, I suppose. But
Another topic for another day. This
exactly.
one's quite nice. Overflow.
Is that? Do you think that's to do with the lava from a volcano or from the water in a flood?
I don't know, but basically, overflow means when something goes over the possibilities. So if you put water in a glass and you turn the tap on, then obviously the water fills up, and then eventually it overflows and it goes over the edge of the glass. But if it happens with water, then we talk about a flood. That's when you have too much water. So
All
in
right.
Florence, for example, in 1966, I believe, there were
See,
the
yeah.
very bad floods in the centre of Florence when the river, the water in the river overflowed.
Yeah. Okay. What is the natural disaster when not snow? We're not talking about snow coming down a mountain, but we're actually talking about the mountain itself coming down. Maybe when it rains and rains and rains, and then part of the mountain comes down. Does anybody know what that natural disaster is?
There were a lot of them. There was the serious one in Liguria,
Yeah?
the one which caused problems with the motorway again, and there was the problem with that. The the motorway in the north, and then there's some problems in Alto Adige in the northeast as well. There were a lot of these things where the mountain collapsed.
Nice one. Nice one, George. Your sandstorm. That is actually what we can see in the photo, in the picture here. That happens in the desert. We also have wildfire. Excellent, Annalisa. Yeah, forest fires or wildfire. Exactly what happened in Australia, or what has been happening in Australia, and also in the Amazon last year. Okay, sandstorm. What about?
And to Antonia, yeah, you're right. For landslides, that's when the mountain falls away. And Giovanni as well. Well done, guys.
Very good. Landslide. Excellent. That's when the mountain.
And Rita as well. You got that right. Well done.
Ooh, good. Georgia says a
Just going back,
tornado.
one thing, there was a comment from Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
Veronica said global warming because damage the earth and the animals too. That's correct. Damage, this one, no, you were right the first time. Damage with the A. So well done, you.
Great. Excellent. Yeah, it is true. Yeah. What about when there is a storm, but it's not with rain, it's with snow and ice, and it's really bad, and you have to stay in your house because
I know.
the storm is so fierce, so bad with snow. Does anybody know what kind of disaster that is? I think we can call it two different ways. I think in England we call it a snowstorm, quite simply, right, Sarah?
Oh, well, I was thinking of a different word where you get a lot of things. It begins with B.
Yeah. I
What?
also use this word, but I think they use it more in America. I don't know if it's true or not, but I call it both ways. Yeah. So it's called
Hailstorm.
a hailstorm. That's very good, Chiara, but that is just ice. Just when ice comes down. Hail. That's really good. Well done. But when we have a lot of snow, which then freezes and becomes ice, yeah, it's called a blizzard. Okay. So let's get the list here. Okay. So here we have, can you read the first list here on the left, Sarah, please?
Yeah, sure. Earthquake, tsunami, heat wave, volcanic eruption, and avalanche.
Okay, so here we have another one nobody mentioned, which is heat wave. What is a heat wave? Does anybody know what a heat wave is?
We get them in the summer.
Yeah.
In Italy, we get them quite badly.
Yeah, absolutely. So heat is the noun for what? Sarah? It's the noun of the adjective?
It's now the adjective hot.
Yeah. So we all know what hot means, but the noun is heat, the heat. So when we have a heat wave, this is what we get in the summer when there is a long period of very hot weather, extremely hot weather. Okay, it's called a heat wave. Okay. So the second, I will read the second list. We have flood.
We have a question though. Related.
Yes, it is a very good question. We'll get there in just a second. So we have flood, landslide, a severe thunderstorm, a blizzard, and a tornado. What's a tornado? What is a tornado? And what is the difference between a tornado and a hurricane, for example?
So, I have no idea.
A tornado is, you can actually see the wind because it creates a whirlwind. So the tornado is this, when you see the wind doing this, okay? Like in The Wizard of Oz, okay?
Okay.
You can call them a tornado or a whirlwind. Otherwise, a hurricane is just a very vast, big area where you have very, very strong winds, but you cannot see a whirlwind. It's just wind everywhere for 100 miles or something, okay? So, all right, and the last list, Sarah?
Forest fire, hurricane, and the pronunciation of the next word, drought.
Excellent, yes, drought. This is a funny pronunciation. If you look at the spelling, you wouldn't say it, this is how you pronounce it, but the G, A, and H are silent, and the O-U are pronounced ow, drought. Okay, so drought is, good, Giorgio wrote it here. Siccità, yes. So it's when you have no water. You switch on the tap and no water comes out. And this usually happens after or during a heat wave. Okay. After a long period with no rain. Okay, very good. So we also said sandstorm, and we also said hail. Right. Good, Andrea. Lack of water. Excellent. That is exactly what drought is. Okay. So I think we've gone through all of the natural disasters that I can think of. Okay. Next question. What do you think is the worst type of natural disaster and why? Okay, so students, feel free to
That's a
comment
good question.
what you think personally, because this is a personal opinion, is the worst type and why. Sarah, what do you think?
Hmm. I think potentially the worst thing is, as we saw in Australia actually this year, were the forest fires, because they
Mm.
just go so quickly and they damage everything and they destroy so much. And for me, I think the forest fire is something that, oh, it just goes so quickly. And the videos that we saw from Australia with the devastation to the animals and to the people that live there, and then the effect of the smoke, so the pollution and everything that happens after. What about you? What do you think is the worst?
Um, I think that it's an earthquake, a bad earthquake, or a tsunami, which is also caused by the earthquake, because you literally have no warning. You just it just happens. You if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. So I don't know, and if they're really bad, they can also hit a very extended area. So Enrico seems to agree with me, Enrico and Marietta, because it destroys everything, everything, and not everything. Okay, but great. Yeah, it destroys. Third person. It destroys. Okay. Georgia thinks it's a tsunami. I agree. I agree. Earthquake or tsunami, really bad. Also, the tsunami, uh, if you're in the wrong place, right by the coast at the wrong time, it's really, really difficult to escape. Okay. You can't stop them. That's right. The worst natural disaster. Tsunami, because it damages everything. It damages everything. The houses, the people. There are many deaths. No, I've never seen The Impossible, the movie, Veronica. Maybe I have to watch it. But I have seen The Day After Tomorrow. Have you, Sarah, seen The Day
Mm-hmm.
After Tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah,
Where
yeah,
the whole of New York gets completely covered by a
yeah.
huge tsunami. Okay. Andrea thinks that Italy, oh God, it's the COVID-19. Yeah, at the moment it is. It's also a natural disaster because a virus is something that is just created by nature. So it's true. Wow. Forest fire because it destroys everything and is difficult to escape. Exactly. Right. So you agree with Sarah, Chiara.
Yay. Yeah.
Andrea thinks it's in Italy. The earthquake is the worst disaster. In the past, many cities have been destroyed by an earthquake. That's true. Watch out for the spelling of earthquake, Andrea. It's EARTH. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Okay. Tsunami, tornado. Nancy thinks that the tornado is one of the worst because they are fast and they destroy everything. They're very quick to destroy everything in its path. Okay. So lots of different opinions. Lots of different opinions. Okay. Even though all of them, in their own different way, I think are very bad, especially if you experience them. Okay. Um, Right. For me, it is the earthquake because of his power to destroy, remove, and take away anything. Great. Okay, so let's move on. uh, right. Sarah, could you read, please?
Sure. The power of the planet. Have you or someone you know ever experienced a natural disaster? What happened?
Hmm. Okay, so feel free, students, to reply if you've ever experienced one yourself or if you know someone who has experienced one. Have you ever experienced a natural disaster yourself, Sarah?
I don't think I've experienced anything really, really bad. I have felt an earthquake here in Italy, but nothing happened and there was no damage. So for me, I felt an earthquake, but I wasn't involved in the natural disaster.
Okay.
Likewise, with the floods, for example, when we have a lot of water, maybe I get a bit of water in the house, but it's not a natural disaster for me because nothing really changes. You have to clear it up, but there's no real damage. So I'm lucky. I've not been in anything really bad. And you? Have you been in anything?
Yeah, I have. I've actually experienced a hurricane. I've been in a hurricane.
Wow.
I was
When
in
did that happen?
I was just off the coast of Florida in the United States, and I was traveling from Orlando, Port Canaveral, where there's the NASA base. We were originally sailing to the Bahamas, but because of the hurricane, we had to change course and sail into the Gulf of Mexico and go to Mexico. So while we were sailing along the coast of Florida, and between the Florida Keys and the mainland, that was where the hurricane was in that moment.
Wow.
So we actually sailed through the hurricane to get into the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
tell you, the ship was rocking like this.
I bet it
Uh,
was.
I felt I felt terrible, and I thought I was going to die. I thought that we were going to be like the Titanic and sink.
Oh yeah.
So
Nightmare.
what happened? What happened when you felt the earthquake?
Well, say I was lucky I was in bed and I felt the whole bed shake. It was recently, maybe 2 months ago,
Oh
when
yeah,
there
I
was the
felt
bad
that
one in
too.
Mugello in Florence and in Tuscany.
Yeah.
And I know that I felt, I didn't know what it was. And then it was only the next day when people said, "Oh, it was an earthquake." I was, "Oh, that's what it feels like," because I'd not felt one before, so I didn't know. So I did nothing. I just stayed in bed and went, "Oh, that was a bit strange." But, oh, we got
Okay.
some people who've had some experiences here. Let's put some of them up here. We've got Georgia.
My family and I have seen an earthquake in Italy, and it's fierce, but the end was fine. Okay, so you didn't have any problems yourself. That's great. What about Giorgio? Uh, Giorgio says, I felt the 2017 earthquake in Amatrice, but I was very far. Okay, good. So you felt the earth tremor shake. Okay. Annalisa Porta, oh, Alessio Di
Oh,
Rosa, sorry, said, I remember when I waked up. The past simple of wake is woke. Woke up during the earthquake in Abruzzo, and it was very bad. Okay, because nobody could do anything. Nobody could do anything. Okay. Enrico Marietta says, I've never experienced a natural disaster, but my wife's parents had their house destroyed by an earthquake in Umbria more than 10 years ago. Wow, I'm really sorry for them. Annalisa says she was
oh,
flooded.
sorry. Sorry.
It's okay, don't worry. She was flooded in her territory several years ago. Oh dear, that's terrible. Uh, I have many friends who experienced floods in 2011, in the big floods in Liguria, in Cinque Terre, and in Aulla. It was really, really bad. Okay. Yes, I have experienced an earthquake. I feel the earth move. I felt the earth move. My room was moving, and I put my head under the covers of my bed. I was very scared. Yeah, wow, I can imagine, Veronica. Terrible experience. Okay, so um, next question. Have there been any natural disasters in the world recently? What happened and what caused it? Were there any casualties or fatalities? So we've already talked about the one in Australia that happened recently. And there was another forest fire in the Amazon just a few months ago. All of the Amazon was also on fire. Anything else that happened recently? Um, I know that there was a volcanic eruption in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken, like last month or
Yeah,
2 months ago.
yeah.
And a really big area was completely under the ash of the volcano. The ash is the little particles of lava or dry lava that comes out of the volcano. So lots of people didn't have any drinking water because the ash had contaminated the water in the area. I don't know if there were any casualties or fatalities. I don't think so. What is a fatality, Sarah? You know?
Fatality is when somebody dies, unfortunately.
Yes, exactly. And a casualty?
Casualty is when there is it's counting the people that are involved in an accident, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have died. A fatality is when they've died. A casualty is somebody who is affected by it. And I think it can be either a death or an injury, but until
Exactly.
they know for sure, they talk about casualties, and then it becomes fatalities when they know for certain that the people have died.
Exactly. Okay. So Rosalba says her parents in Australia uh, have experienced wildfires. Wow. I can imagine that the population was terrified. Uh, Fire in Australia, you think was caused by man. Yes. They also say that they think that a few people actually intentionally caused the fires, which is really bad. Okay. Um, Lots of people have experienced earthquakes here in Italy. Lots of them. Yeah. Okay. So, I don't remember if there have been any other natural disasters in the world. All I can remember is the volcano, the wildfires, and
Annalise makes a good point about the droughts. There's always the problems of the droughts in Africa, and
oh
because it's a
yeah,
long way from Europe, we don't talk about it. But it's very true that there are a lot of droughts in Africa, Ethiopia, in the areas all around Africa, not just in Ethiopia. It's very sad.
actually, come to think of it, I was reading some articles last night, and in Africa, thinking about Africa, I think in Kenya and in like Eastern Africa, they are having a huge, serious problem with locusts eating through
Yes, I read about that. Yeah,
all of their
yeah,
crops. So also
yeah.
locusts. Oh, I didn't write that well. Sorry, let me write that again. Locusts. C didn't come out. Locusts are quite big um, insects. No, what are they? Insects.
Yeah,
Yeah,
insects,
quite big
insects. Yeah.
insects that can eat their own body weight in 24 hours, and they destroy plants. So anything you are growing, food that you are growing, everything gets destroyed in 24 hours. This is another natural disaster. Yeah.
Nancy makes a good point about the deforestation. So
Yeah.
deforestation is not natural because it's something that man does. So unfortunately, it's a consequence of man's actions. Is now the fact that obviously there's problems with the forest in the Amazon and in South America. But again, caused by man as opposed to a natural disaster, which is, in theory, the caused by something we can't control.
Exactly. Okay, so the last question, Sarah, could you read it, please?
Yeah, which natural disasters occur in your country? Joelle,
So,
in the UK, what natural disasters do we have in the UK?
well, we've just experienced, actually, I didn't think about that, hurricane.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
Hurricane Dennis or something, I don't remember, or something.
It was
Just
Chiara, wasn't it? Hurricane Chiara or Chiara.
Sierra or something like that, or Chiara or Sierra,
Yeah.
something like that, yeah. Just hit the UK. So we sometimes get hurricanes off the Atlantic in the UK, which they cause a lot of floods. The hurricane that just hit the UK caused many, many floods. So we get floods because it also rains a lot in our country. um, do we have anything? Maybe severe thunderstorms. Anything else? Hail. We get hailstorms sometimes.
Yeah, but they're not really natural disasters in the fact they don't destroy
Yeah,
things.
they don't
I think
destroy.
it's mainly floods and wind. That's what we suffer
Yeah.
from, but we don't really suffer from anything else.
Okay. What
Apart from,
about
as Giorgio says, I like Giorgio's comment, Brexit, yes.
yeah?
Get a bit of
don't,
politics in.
don't remind us, please. Okay. So in Italy, yeah, Veronica and Rita have both said we often have earthquakes. Yeah. Actually, in Italy, I think we have almost everything except tsunamis, maybe. In Italy, we have wildfires. In Italy, we have earthquakes. In Italy, we have floods. In Italy, we have landslides. We have drought in the summer when the Po River is dry.
Avalanches in the winter.
We have avalanches in the mountains. We have landslides. We have heat waves. Maybe blizzards. We don't really get many blizzards, but maybe in the mountains.
In the
North.
mountains.
Yeah. And maybe we don't get sandstorms, but
No.
we
No.
we've got volcanic eruptions.
Yeah. Italy's bad. You have a lot of natural disasters in this country. Yeah.
Many. Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Cause and effect. Match each disaster to its possible cause. Yeah. Okay. Giorgio says, sorry, I'm joking about the Brexit. Yeah, we know. So we were joking too. Okay. Yes, wildfire in Italy. We get lots of things in Italy. Great. Okay. So, could you read the words on the left, please, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. Landslide, and remember the pronunciation here, guys. Drought, wildfire, tornado, and avalanche.
Okay, so we have landslide. So what causes a landslide? What causes a landslide? So a landslide is when a buildup of material is released, but what type of buildup of material? Okay, a landslide is not like an avalanche. Okay, an avalanche releases a buildup of snow, but a landslide releases a buildup of earth, rocks, trees, which comes down the mountain. So the cause of this is actually an earthquake, volcanic eruptions, or general instability in the surrounding land. Okay, so if the side of the mountain is not very stable, it's unstable, it will come down, and that is the landslide. So it's number 5. Okay, Rita and Georgia, you are right. When a buildup of material is released, but you have to think about what kind of buildup of material. Okay, so the second one, Sarah.
So the drought. This one we've seen, common in Africa, common when we have a problem with a particular thing that we all like to drink. And so in this case, we're looking at number 3. You're right there, Georgia. Yeah, so the severe deficiency in water supply. That's
Excellent.
your drought.
Okay.
Well done,
So,
Georgia.
wildfire. Wildfire. What is this caused by? So somebody before said, I think it was Giorgio maybe, said that some men actually started some wildfires in Australia. It's true. So when man creates a fire intentionally, it's called arson. Okay? When a man intentionally creates a fire and starts a fire, it's called arson. So arson is a cause of wildfire, together with lightning, carelessness, or volcanic eruption. Yeah. So it's number 1. Good, Rosalba. Thank you. Sarah, the next one.
The tornado. Now, this is the one that I didn't know the difference between a tornado and a hurricane. So the tornado involves another element, and it's generally associated with wind. So the definition here that we're looking for is something involving the wind, and it's number 2. So the unstable air in the atmosphere. So well done to you guys who've got that right.
Okay. And so that leaves the last one, avalanche, which is when a buildup of material is released. Okay, so it's the buildup of all the snow on the side of the mountain comes down. Okay. Right. So next, true or false? Sarah.
Are natural disasters always a bad thing? See if you can figure out which phrases are true. So we've got some phrases here, and you have to decide, are they a good or a bad thing? So if they're a bad thing, the first one, shouting loudly can cause an avalanche. Do we think that is true or false? Joelle, true or false? If you shout loudly, do you think you cause an avalanche?
I don't know. I think I would have to have a pretty loud voice to start an avalanche.
I don't know. Maybe loud noises make it start. I don't know what causes avalanches. If it's not you shouting, what causes avalanches?
I think maybe just the temperature of that day is slightly warmer than usual, so the snow melts a little bit and then it just breaks off.
Well, okay. I don't know.
Okay, number 2. Small forest fires can be good for the ecosystem. For the ecosystem. Some people pronounce it eco. Some people pronounce it ecosystem. I think this is true.
I think this is true as well, because effectively you get they say that after you have a fire, okay, you destroy everything, but in 3 or 4 years the land comes back and they can use the land, and it's good for crops because they have an increased amount of carbon in the earth. I think, I don't know, I did biology at school, but I don't remember, it was a long time ago.
I think so too. Giorgio Lori is asking Enrico Marietta is asking what the meaning of shouting is. So shouting is when you shout loudly. This is shouting. Okay.
You are not allowed to shout in the library. In the library, the opposite, you have to be very quiet. If you go to a football match and you want to shout to the players to come on and get a goal, that's when you shout. So you can shout in a football stadium, but you can't shout in a library. Library, you have to be very quiet.
Okay.
It's the opposite of shouting.
Sarah, number 3.
Volcanoes add nutrients to the soil.
Maybe.
I think that's similar to my fire theory of the fact that you know, the carbon and things that are in the earth, I think they are always good for the soil. I think it just takes longer. So I think that's true.
And I know a lot of people in different countries, they grow like vineyards around the volcano because the soil is so fertile. So maybe it's true. Number 4, tsunamis can only travel for about 100 miles. I doubt it. I think
No, they can
100
travel
miles is big enough.
loads further. Yeah.
It's not far enough. But you need, I think it's not true.
Yeah, maybe 1,000 miles, but yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, right?
There are thousands of earthquakes across the earth each day. I don't know. Not in Italy, I don't think. I don't know.
Maybe there are really, really small earthquakes and we can't detect them.
Yeah, maybe. It depends on what they mean by earthquakes. If they're small earthquakes, maybe. But if they're big earthquakes, I no. Depends on the size.
So Rita's asking, what is soil? Soil is the earth, the ground, the earth where you plant flowers. You need soil to plant flowers. It's brown. The earth. The earth. Okay. Right. Last one. 3 out of 4 tornadoes happen in the US.
I reckon that's true.
I think so too, because they have the famous Tornado Alley, which is a group of states in the United States where they constantly get tornadoes. So let's have a look. Shouting can cause an avalanche. False. Yeah, I think you'd have to have a pretty loud voice to be able to cause an avalanche. True.
Yes.
Can remove dead brush and allow for new growth. Great. True. They allow for new crops. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Keep taking that off the screen. What are crops?
Crops are the plants that you grow specifically for food.
Okay.
So if you plant a lot of seeds to grow tomatoes, then because you eat the tomatoes are your crop, if you like. So a crop is anything that they're plants that you grow for the purpose of food.
Right. Tsunamis, false. They can travel for thousands of miles. Exactly, is what I thought. There are thousands of earthquakes across the earth every day, but they are very small and you cannot feel them. They cannot be detected. And
I like in the comment from Alessio, these are answers for scientists. Here at MyS, we teach science, we teach English, we're just like super intelligent here.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to here and let's recap what we've talked about today. Different vocabulary for natural disasters. You can think of different types of natural disasters. So, what is the natural disaster with lots and lots of wind? Okay, lots and lots of wind. Sarah?
Hurricane.
Yeah.
Or tornado. Depending on if you want to do hurricane or tornado. Yeah.
So what is in the picture here?
Tornado. I've learned something new.
Exactly. Okay. What is the word for when there is no water?
Yeah, the difficult word with a strange pronunciation. That's drought.
Yes.
And what normally comes before a drought, Joelle?
We usually get a very long heat wave.
Yay, loving your...
Okay. And what do we use when we talk about our experiences of natural disasters? So we asked the question, have you ever experienced a natural disaster? Using the present perfect. So you say, yes, I have seen a tsunami, or I have been, or I have experienced an earthquake, or I have been in an earthquake. I have been in a hurricane, for example. Okay. And
Joelle, when did you experience an earthquake or a hurricane?
I experienced a hurricane in about 2005. I think it was
Mm.
2005 or 2006. And this is past simple when we talk about something specific. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our webinar today. Thank you for joining us and have a nice day. We shall see you soon. Bye, Sarah.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
See you,
everybody.
everybody.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.